Hey kids, welcome to our lesson for the week. Today we're going to be looking at Paul and Barnabas and see where they head off to next in their adventure telling people about Jesus. So let's get into the story.
When Paul and Barnabas had been missionaries for a while, Paul spoke to Barnabas. He said,
Hey, let's go back and visit the believers in all the other towns that we preached at, okay? Let's go and see how they're doing.
Barnabas agreed.
Hey, yeah, Paul, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go do that. But how's about we take my friend, John Mark?
Hey, that's me. I'm John Mark.
He wanted to take John Mark, but Paul did not want to take John Mark because John Mark had left them on one of their other trips. So Barnabas took John Mark with him to Cyprus, and Paul chose Silas. And they traveled through Syria and Cilicia. They helped the churches wherever they went. In Lystra, Paul met Timothy, who was the son of a Greek father and a believing Jewish mother. Paul spoke well of Timothy, and Paul took him and traveled through towns encouraging believers. The number of believers increased by the day. The Holy Spirit guided Paul and the men as they traveled. Instead of going to Asia or Mysia, Paul had a vision of a Macedonian man begging him to come and help. They immediately left, understanding that God was calling them to preach the gospel to Macedonia. They traveled to several towns in Macedonia, delivering the message of Jesus.
In that story, Paul and Barnabas got into a little bit of a disagreement. Imagine if you and your best friend were out telling people about Jesus, and then you had a strong disagreement about someone. This is the situation that Paul and Barnabas were in. We saw Barnabas wanted to take John Mark along and give him another chance. Paul said, "No, I don't want him coming along because he's already kind of left us once, so he's probably going to do it again." So they had a big disagreement about that. So they parted ways. And then we saw Barnabas go with John Mark, and we saw Paul go with Silas. What's interesting in this story is that even though they had a disagreement, God used both of them to spread the gospel even further. Because of their disagreement, they went in different directions. So then Barnabas and John Mark were over here, and Paul and Silas were over there, and they're all telling people about Jesus. So even more people are getting to hear. So part of the lesson today is that I want you to be encouraged. Encouraged that even when we have disagreements and things can happen that we don't intend, God still has a plan in mind, and he can still use those situations for good. Even though Paul and Barnabas had a disagreement and an argument and then left in different directions, God still used both of them, and it was great. So I have a little illustration. So guys, I have made this paper airplane. It's a trick plane. I found out how to do it on YouTube. The thing about this plane is every time I throw it, I don't know what it's going to do. It might do a loop, it might spin, it might kind of do a big curve and come back. It might just hit the wall. Who knows, because I'm inside. It's a small area. Let's watch it fly. Wow. Each time I threw this plane, I didn't know what it was going to do. You know what that's kind of like? In our story, Paul and Barnabas didn't know how God was going to use them. They had a disagreement about what they thought they should do, and God ended up doing something that neither of them expected. And all of them ended up being used by God for his plan in different parts of the world. They thought they were going one way, but they ended up going another way, just like the plane. Our craft for the week is going to be making this plane that I used in the demonstration. So this might be a little bit advanced, so maybe the younger kids might not be able to do it, but you can try anyway if you'd like. But stick around and I'll show you how I made it. Alright, we're making this paper airplane, guys. So if I go too fast, feel free to pause the video and catch up with different steps and have fun with it. Okay, you can start with any piece of paper. This is what I have. It's a piece of lined paper with 3 holes in it. Now to start, you're going to want to take it long ways and fold it in half. Okay? You just line up the corners and make a really good crease right here with your fingernail. Okay? Now that it's folded in half, you unfold it. And then you want to take your front edge, okay? And you're going to fold it backwards, but not all the way in half. We're going to go halfway in half. So if I turn it this way, you can see. You want the crease to line up in the center right there. But then this section here should be about the same width as this section here. And that's how you know you got the right spot. It's not too big a deal if it's not exactly center. You're allowed to be a little unique. Then we're going to take this flap here and we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to fold it backwards this way. But again, you want this section to be as wide as this section. Right here. This section and this section. So it might be a little tricky, but I believe in you. Maybe if you get an older brother or sister or your parents to help, that'll be good. Okay, so this is where we're at now. Then we're going to fold it over our crease where we had before, okay? So fold it in half so that it looks like this. When it's folded in half like this, you're going to want to fold it like that next. Okay? So what I did was like that. And then if you do it on the other side, if you've made paper airplanes before, this step should be a little familiar. This is the part that you hold with your hand. So what you're left with is something like that. If you unfold it, it looks like a weird square plane. This isn't going to fly yet, so we got to add some more to it. Next, fold it all up, and then you take this front corner and fold it back up to the very edge at the top. And then you do a big, nice crease right there. Then you flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. The good thing about paper airplanes is you often just do the same thing on the other side. So this is what your plane should look like right now. It's folded in half. If you unfold it, it looks like that. Starting to look a little more like a plane. You want to unfold it so it looks like that. And then what we want to do, you see these flaps here? You're going to unfold them one at a time and then take the corner again here and fold it to this crease that we made in the middle. And then fold it again. And then when you're done that, you fold it over so that each wing looks like that. So then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So unfold it, fold it over, and then tuck it in and fold the whole thing over. So this is what you're left with. This is what your plane should look like right now. And you see this corner right here. That looks a little odd. We're going to fold it over, okay? And then give it a good crease with your thumb. And then flip it over to the other side. And you're going to do the same thing. Get the paper nice and creased right there. Gotta press it on the table. Then, this part is the tricky part. You're gonna wanna do one of these, okay? So you push in and it should flatten out over the top while you're holding the rest of yours plain like that, and you push it down till it's about even on either side. This one is a tricksy fold. If you're having trouble, that's okay, because this is really advanced stuff here, guys. So then it should look like that, okay? And then you fold either end down on the sides. Next, we want to open it up a little bit. You'll see in the front it looks a little crazy like this, right? And you have these little winglets here, or whatever they're called, little spikes. You want to take those and just fold them on the inside, okay? Now the whole point of this part is that you got some weight in the front of your plane, and that'll keep it flying forward. So then, and then the rest looks like that. Okay? Now the next thing we're gonna do is fold the part where we're gonna hold. So you take the plane right there, right about where this piece ends, at the top up here, and you fold there, and you're gonna wanna make a diagonal line down to this corner, okay? And again, each plane is unique, so if yours looks slightly different, that's okay. But it'll look something like that. And then to do the other side, it's easier. You just take this wing and you fold it down to match this corner. And you fold along the crease right there. It's starting to look a little bit like a bird, right? So if you unfold it, this is what it looks like. Okay? And you got your nose there. The rest is a little easy. You just take your wings and you want to fold this over like that. About the width of 2 of your thumbs. Or maybe 3 of your thumbs. Your thumbs might be smaller than mine. Here's what you do. If you fold it over, you can tell where your wing was folded, so you can just copy with the other one. Okay, and then when it's all unfolded, you have yourself a little trick plane. And there you have it. Good luck. I hope yours works too. Anyway, that's our lesson for today. I'll see you guys next week.